Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of a special Thursday Night Madness here on YouTube and StreamYard.com. Normally, I do my traditional openings. However, um, tonight is such a big night. We got so much to cover here, so there's not much time for us to do. However, so let's do this. Obviously, tonight we got to cover is NXT and AEW. That's fine. Tomorrow night, because Royal Rumble is this Saturday, we're going to do a special Friday episode. Come back tomorrow night. We're going to do the conference championships, and obviously, we'll preview the Royal Rumble all in one shot for the whole world, and then come back on Sunday night and we will do the recap of that Royal Rumble event. So, with that said, here we go. We'll start out with NXT per the usual, followed by AEW Dynamite. And here we go. So, guys, with NXT, well, let's see if I can get it right. Thank you. Let's see. That's Impact. Here we go. So, did I go too far? I think I went too far. Yeah, I did. I did go too far. All right. Sorry, folks. I went back to the 16th episode, and that is definitely not correct. All right, here it is. 23rd. NXT. All right, here we go. So, we started out with the first matchup, the semifinal of the Dusty Classic. It was Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin against Axiom and Nathan Frazier. And when it was all said and done, the winners of the bout in 12 minutes and 4 seconds and advancing to the finals of the Dusty Classic is Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin. Look, solid opener, very good matchup. No big surprise who advanced. Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin's actually working pretty well. Axiom and Nathan Frazier, look, good matchup, entertaining fight, but like I think it was Anthony Floyo that alluded to this. He thinks that Breakker and Corbin is probably going to win the entire tournament, and all of a sudden now, here they are in the final, and I'm starting to believe what Floyo's thinking. I actually, as much as I don't want it to happen, I think it's going to happen now. I think Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin is going to win the whole thing now. I don't know, the way the bracket set it up, the way the bracket looks, I think Corbin and Breakker might win it all. And, this will be a very unique moment for them if they do go on to win the entire tournament. Because like I said, if you win the tournament, you are guaranteed an NXT tag team title fight down the line. So possibly at Stand and Deliver. That'll probably be my prediction on that one. So yeah, nothing more to say. Anthony Floyo, it's yours. I'll say this about 3 stars.
3.25 for me. NXT may have peaked early with a phenomenal opener. The styles of these 4 men blended perfectly. The babyfaces fought from underneath, finding the smallest avenues for success against overwhelming force. The crowd went wild for this match, especially late on, when Axiom kicked out of multiple repeat big moves from the heels. While it never quite felt like the underdogs could win, they delivered a strong performance against top competition. Breakker and Corbin are meshing well as a tag team. While their build-up has been rushed for the Dusty Classic, NXT may have struck gold in pairing these two together. They make each other more interesting and will likely win the tournament, as I have been saying. So we don't want to take up too much time here, so I'm just going to leave it at that. 3.25, teetering on 3.5 stars. One of the top fights of the night for sure. So Michael Bullock, Mr. NXT, come on in. You got your first finalist for the Dusty Cup, Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin, and you heard it here first, gentlemen. They're winning the damn thing.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think they're winning the whole thing, too. I mean, the way they've impressed me in this I mean, when they were first thrown together, we were like, is this really going to work? And so far up to this point, it has worked. And yeah, I'm going to give this 3.25 stars as well. I thought this was a good match here. I mean, you got to give credit to both guys, especially Axiom and Nathan Frazier when they were literally thrown together too. So yeah, we got our first finalists. Well, who are they going to face? Well, you're going to have to wait and find out. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. Let's move right along, Fletch.
Yes, indeed. And then after that, we had ourselves a major announcement. So right after that, there was a scene backstage in Shawn Michaels' office. Ava Raine walks out first. Then, immediately following her, was an old friend of ours, a friend of NXT, and a man who we've been waiting for over a year to see. Mr. William Regal comes back to NXT and basically congratulates Ava Raine because, gentlemen, Michael Bullock, importantly, Ava Raine becomes the youngest general manager in WWE history. At only 22 years old, Ava Raine now becomes the new general manager of NXT. Gentlemen, I'm going to open forum this. This is a shocking announcement, to say the very least. We kind of know why, possibly because of some other bigger news that came out earlier today on that particular day of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson becoming a member of the board of TKO Holdings, which is the partnership of the WWE and UFC partnership company, or the parent company of WWE and Endeavor coming together. We all know that. And now Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, oh, by the way, the executive owner of the XFL, as he made that merger with the USFL to make the UFL. So you got that on the horizon. And now Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson becoming a member of the board when it comes to TKO Holdings. And then, oddly enough, just hours later, about maybe the announcement came around 8 a.m. in the morning, around 8:30 at night, we find out Ava Raine becomes the new general manager of NXT at 22 years old, the youngest general manager in the history of the company. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, like you said, she is the youngest general manager in WWE history. So now you got all three brands with a general manager. Adam Pearce with Monday Night Raw, Nick Aldis with SmackDown, and now Ava Raine with NXT, and she's got a lot of guidance with the help of Mr. William Regal. And oh, by the way, good to see him back in WWE. So yeah, I mean, like you said, how ironic, especially on the day when Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is also announced as the new board of directors when it comes to TKO. So yeah, so what a moment for her. I mean, at 22 years old, I know there's some people who are probably like, wait a minute, she's 22 years old? I thought she would have a career as a wrestler, but I guess it just didn't work out for her. So this is the next best thing, and she's got quite the guy in William Regal to really help her out. So whoever wants it next, it's yours.
I'm actually genuinely surprised that I'm genuinely surprised that they did this move. However, it does make logical sense. It is a great move. I mean, Ava has been kind of working side by side with Shawn Michaels, being a little bit of a protege. Now she gets promoted. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to say the same thing about WWE. about maybe was this because of the influence of Dwayne The Rock Johnson for why that move happened. I don't know if it was correlated or directly because of Dwayne The Rock Johnson, but whatever the case may be, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be talked about. Obviously, there was talk that Mr. William Regal was not allowed to be on TV for at least 1 year as part of a deal that he did when he left AEW. Well, looks like that 1 year gag order is now gone. So is this possibility that we're going to see a lot more of Mr. William Regal in the very near future? I think one person hopes we do. And especially if he does work on, maybe he can work on the behalf, or if Ava has a situation, maybe she could lean on Mr. William Regal as like a crutch. Something like that where, get the guidance, get the wisdom. If there's one person you want to talk to, one person that you could lean on, especially when it's NXT, Mr. William Regal is the right person to talk about when it comes to business of NXT, because this man, I think we can all agree, was by far the best authority figure for the Black and Gold brand, for NXT at its core at the time. This man was, other than his pronunciation or how he yelled out War Games, but a lot of the leadership that he did, the decisions that he had to make in NXT was second to none. If you're Ava Raine, you have to be absolutely ecstatic that Mr. William Regal is there so that she could lean on him for whenever he is in a pinch or in any kind of trouble. This would be the perfect person to have lean on and work with. Anthony Florio, please give me your thoughts on the big announcement.
Well, you kind of had a feeling this was leading to something. I mean, we had seen her over the last several weeks. I thought she was like I thought that they were going to have her as like a special assistant to Shawn Michaels, but wow, what an honor. HBK can't be on camera all the time, and he's obviously, letting the younger talents have the spotlight. That is the purpose of this show, after all. And you know what? I mean, what an honor. I mean, surpassing the previous youngest general manager, which was AJ Lee. She was only 25 when she was named the Raw general manager as part of that legendary Raw 1000, one of the greatest Monday Night Raws of all time. We all remember that. And during our early years of this program, and I mean, great honor. And yeah, you could call coincidence. You can call whatever you want to call it. I mean, on the same day, her father, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, was hired as a member of the TKO board of directors. And, we'll have to wait and see where it leads. But so far, she's done a good job, being that, liaison or that assistant to Shawn Michaels, if you will. So I'm very intrigued by this. And they obviously needed something. They obviously wanted her to do something. I mean, considering that the whole schism thing is no longer in existence. Thank goodness for that. With Fowler and Reed going to TNA and reforming the GYV, mark out moment for me. Yes. So and they're already making dividends over there. And Joe Gacy, who may be more schizo than he ever was. And good for them. And hey, you can't go in if she runs into any trouble. Hey, you got Mr. Regal there to help you. No better guy to give you advice and serve as a mentor. So as long as she has Mr. Regal's guidance, she's going to do just fine. So there's no doubt about that. And I will add to those sentiments. I will echo the sentiments. Great to see William Regal back. We knew it was going to be a matter of time because it was 1 year ago that he returned to WWE after he all of a sudden out of nowhere left AEW and did so by costing MJF, or I should say, costing Jon Moxley the AEW Heavyweight Championship and allowing the MJF to win it, and ended up holding that thing for over 400 days. So, yeah, great to see Mr. Regal back, and I am hopeful that come November we'll get to hear him utter those legendary words one more time. War Games. So, great to see Mr. Regal back. Congratulations, Ava Raine, youngest GM in history. Like I said, as long as she's got Regal watching her back, Emma, she's going to be just fine.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And I think it's an exciting time if you're a fan of it's going to be an exciting time if you feel like it for NXT because of everything that did indeed happen with that big announcement. So with that said, we got Lash Legend versus Ren Sinclair. It was Lash Legend winning the match in 2 minutes and 59 seconds. We're not going to really talk about it, but Ren Sinclair, that's Maddie Renikowski. Basically, she is the new NXT sign up. She's through the NIL. That was basically, through the university. You basically work through the company. Work your way up through college. And hey, you went up against Lash Legend. Nice little debut. Obviously, she still got a lot of work to do. But nice first impression. I'll say that. But we'll see how it plays out. After that, the next match we had was Lexis King versus Trey Bearhill. It was Lexis King winning the match in 2 minutes and 26 seconds. Again, another short fight. We're not really going to get into that either. Then after that, we had a pretty fiery promo segment between Elektra Lopez and Lola Vice. And, well, that led us to the next matchup, Dragon Lee versus Scripps. Dragon Lee winning the match in 5 minutes and 32 seconds. And then Obi Fima basically got on the mic and basically said, hey, Lee, Dragon, I got an answer for you. I'll see you at Vengeance Day. So it's going to be Dragon Lee versus Obi Fima for the North American Championship at Vengeance Day. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
2.5 stars for the match. A match between Dragon Lee and Scripps should have been more high energy, and it did have moments of greatness. For the most part, though, it was just okay. The action outside was unnecessary as the luchador should have been able to win clean. Instead, his victory was overshadowed by stable warfare and a flat distraction. Still, the goal is in view. Dragon Lee versus Oba Femi is going to be a good one at Vengeance Day. I 100% agree. So I'm going to give this a solid 2.5 stars for the effort. So, Michael Bullock, your thoughts as Dragon Lee gets his rematch against Oba Femi for the North American Championship at Vengeance Day. Going to be a good one.
Yeah, it definitely should be a good one here. So I'll give this about 2.5 stars as well. I mean, it was a really good, it was a fine match. I mean, it definitely could have gotten more time, but yeah, I mean, you definitely want to give Dragon Lee the momentum as he heads into his Vengeance Day match against Oba Femi for the North American title. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So let's move on, Fletch.
Yes, a solid match. Really not much to add there. So we're just going to move on along as it was Carmen Petrovic going up against Blair Davenport. Blair Davenport winning the match in 3 minutes and 13 seconds. We don't really need to go into that one. This one we do need to get into. It was Trick Williams going one-on-one with Josh Briggs. Trick Williams wins the match in 7 minutes and 38 seconds. And it goes to you, Michael Bullock. Your thoughts as Trick wins?
I'm going to give this about another 2.5, maybe teetering on 2 3/4, but I'm leaning more towards 2.5. I mean, I thought this was a good match here, but again, I really would have loved to see more out of this. Obviously, the continuing this whole storyline as we head into the matchup between Trick Williams and Ilya Dragunov for the NXT Championship, and of course, the whole thing with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. So, and we all know what's going to happen with that. So, I don't think we really need to rehash it. So, it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, man. There's really nothing more to say. That this is going to be a very interesting situation. This is about a 2.5 to 3, as he says, solid matchup, and yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So, Anthony, quick thought.
The chaos in the... All right, I'll tell you what. Josh Briggs has shown time and again that he is a good big man wrestler, and he drove the pace of this match throughout. It was a good sprint, even if the aftermath mattered most. The chaos in the main event scene is fascinating. There are multiple moving pieces, and NXT has a big swerve planned when the time is right. It will likely involve Carmelo Hayes turning on his friend, but he could find some new pals like Briggs at his side. Whatever happens, Trick Williams is such a hot star at the moment that everything matters. Even with the odd Ridge Holland detour recently, this angle is NXT's most important. 2.5, 2 3/4 of a star. Let's move on.
Yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. So right after that, basically now we have ourselves the main event segment, which was the contract signing for the NXT Women's Title match. Roxanne Perez and Laura Valkyria, they both showed up. They both, said their piece, said what they needed to say. And once everything was all said and done, Tatum Paxley crawls into the ring, grabs Roxanne Perez, and puts her through the table. Laura Valkyria shoots into the ring, and it basically started scolding Tatum Paxley, like, what are you doing? I did not want you to help. I didn't need your help. I didn't want to get that type of upper hand like that. That is no, that's not what I'm about. You messed up. No, like, bad girl. You absolutely did something bad, and I'm not gonna stand for what you just did. That's not cool. Crazy ending to this NXT show. Look, I appreciate the Valkyrie for what she said, for what she did, because like you said, I think she has a lot of respect for Roxanne Perez. Roxanne, it was competitive. Both women want, it was a friendly, nothing bad. It was what the contract signing is technically meant for. So you didn't see any drama, no chaos, and all of a sudden you see this basically explode right before our very eyes. And I hate to say this, but I think Tatum's going to be the wild card at Vengeance Day. She is going to be the wild card in this title fight, where it can go two ways. She could interfere and cost Roxanne Perez the title, where she had, and you get that. Or they could turn around where she could cost, or Tatum Paxley could cost Laura Valkyria, and Roxanne Perez could walk out the new women's champion. So, I mean, there's so many different factors, but I'm going to say this. Tatum Paxley is without a doubt the wild card in all of this when this fight goes down very, very soon. Anthony Florio, we always say contract signings never end well. And for the most part, it did. But it was the after is when all the drama started.
I'll tell you, MF, the content of this contract signing was solid, though the execution was mixed. Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria are still not fully confident as talkers. Both stumbled over their words in moments. Ava also has some way to go to sell herself as an authority figure. What matters most, though, is that the match is set and the story is clear. NXT has fully committed to these two as the top women in the company. They have the talent to prove it together in a first-time bout that could steal the show at Vengeance Day. Tatum Paxley's involvement adds an interesting wrinkle as she continues to give Lyra Valkyria a heel edge that she is not asking for. And as MF says, it's not that she could be the difference come February 4. I believe she will be the difference come February 4. Mark my words. So there isn't anything else left to say here except by default, this was the segment of the night. So there's no question about that. You got a banger of a match coming. So Michael Bullock, or should I say JBL, contract signings, how do they usually go as we see them during our chats all the time?
They don't end well.
Damn
And this one certainly didn't end well. Yeah, you could just see that Lyra Valkyria was not happy with what Tatum Paxley did. I mean, it's like, I don't want to be known as this bad person here. I have so much respect for Roxanne Perez, and you had to go and do that. No, I mean, and the thing is, I mean, and Tatum Paxley's probably not going to be happy with Lyra Valkyria probably turning her down, and I think this is where I think it could end up coming back to haunt her. And you know what? I'm even going to go as far as to say this, guys. I think we're going to have a new champion, because I think that I think Tatum Paxley's going to be the difference maker, and Paxley's going to be so upset that she's going to do something to cost Lyra Valkyria the title. So I'm calling it right here and right now. Roxanne Perez is going to be the new champion. So that's all I got to say. It's yours, Fletch.
In a way, I kind of agree with you, but in another way, I disagree. I think Tatum is gonna help. I think Tatum's gonna help Lara win the match, successfully defend the title. However, I think Lara's not gonna be too happy with Tatum, and I think it's gonna lead to Tatum versus Lara at Stand and Deliver. I think that's where we're going with that situation. Unfortunately, I think Roxanne's gonna be out of the mix for a little bit, or we might end up getting a triple threat for the title. Who knows? But whatever the case may be, Anthony, you lead off on the overall review.
6.5 for me. After a high energy show last week, NXT brought less pace to this night, or this week rather. Most of the matches were squashes, barely tallying 4 minutes on average. Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin versus Nathan Frazier and Axiom set a high bar that was never met at any point for the rest of the night. The impromptu main event of Trick Williams versus Josh Briggs was good, but likely to be forgotten beyond the aftermath. The show did continue to establish the foundations for Vengeance Day as NXT announced Dragon Lee versus Oba Femi for the North American Championship and The Family versus OTM for the Tag Team Championship. This leaves the card mostly confirmed beyond the Dusty Classic final participants. Even the smaller matches built to more important clashes on future weeks, such as Dijak versus Joe Gacy and Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. This is all to say it was a productive NXT, if not an entertaining one for much of its runtime. The future is much brighter for the Gold brand, though, as Vengeance Day looks like a night of great action. But this was just solid, not overly spectacular, if I'm being honest with you. So I'm going to give this about 6.5. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, a bit of a step down, but, they can't be bangers every week.
Yeah, well, it was a step down, but I'm actually going to go. I'm going to be a little tougher on them and give this about 5. I'm not going to go too hard on them, but I'm going to go 5.5 out of 10 on this edition of NXT. I mean, because the thing was, there was just so many short matches. I mean, yes, you had some good ones, but some of the matches were good. But I thought that maybe it could have been better in some spots, but the short matches were just, yeah, that's all it was. It was short, so that's all I can say. It's yours, Fletch. 5.5 for me.
I'm gonna go between 6.5. I think that's the best way to go with this. I think I think you were being a little harsh with this one, Michael Bullock. I think it was a little more better than what you're implicating here. But at the end of the day, yeah, it was a solid show, and there's really nothing more to add here. So we're just gonna move right on along, and we're just gonna go right into AEW. So it was AEW Dynamite. We started it off with Penta El Zero Miedo versus Adam Hangman Page. Hangman winning the match in 13 minutes and 40 seconds. Solid opener. Really good match. 3.5 to 3.75 of a star. Body of work was really well done, but Hangman gets a big win. So nothing more to add. Anthony Sawyer, what's yours?
Okay. All right. I froze for a moment. I apologize. So,
Oh, that's okay. You're good.
all right.
You're good. So Hangman wins in
okay.
13:40.
3.5, 3.75 of a star. Anyone who has followed AEW or the careers of these men specifically would expect nothing less than a good bout out of them, and they did not disappoint. This was the usual AEW singles match with several 2 counts and counters, but they made it feel more spontaneous at times. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So 3.5, 3.75 of a star is my rating. I agree with you, MF, 100%. So Michael Bullock, let's get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, 3.5, 3.75 of a star. This was a good start to this edition of Dynamite. I mean, great work by both men here. So, yeah, I think there's really nothing more to add on to it. So let's move right along, Fletch.
All right. With that said, we do indeed move on to the next match of the evening, as it was Wardlow versus Trent Beretta. Wardlow winning the match in 8 minutes and 5 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
Yes, MF. I 100%. Okay. All right. Now, both men have stated their desire to win the world title, so the announcers were playing up that this bout could have title implications. Even though Wardlow had a huge power advantage, he also had the upper hand outside the ring with the entire Undisputed Kingdom by his side. And all Beretta had was an injured Chuck Taylor, Rocky Romero, and Orange Cassidy for backup. The War Daddy has had mostly quick matches recently, but Trent Beretta is no jobber. He gave him a good fight and even used the chair to get an advantage while the referee was distracted. Wardlow was simply too much for Beretta in the end, though. Better than expected and needed to be, but nobody is going to call it match of the week by any means. I will give this about 2.5 to 2.75 of a star. So, not much more left for me to add on to this. So, I'm not going to waste too much more time. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
What did you give for a rating?
I gave it 2.5 to 2.75. Do you agree with that, or do you have a better rating? What?
2.5, 2.75 is the correct rating on it. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, the whole thing with the Kingdom continues. Obviously, as they really try to prove that they rule AEW, and of course they continue to go after all the gold. So I'm interested to see how this goes. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say when it comes to the rest of this. So it is yours, Fletch.
2.5 to 3. So far, so good. I got really nothing bad to say. Solid match. We move on to Swerve Strickland going 1-on-1 with Jeff Hardy. And it was Swerve Strickland winning the match in 13 minutes and 55 seconds. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
I'll give this about another 3.5 to 3.75 of a star here. I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, Swerve Strickland. I mean, he continues to show why he's the best right now in AEW, and somewhere down the line, whether it's I'm going to say it sometime this year. I think he will be the AEW world champion because, I mean, he's just that good right now. And with all the names he's beaten, I mean, with Hangman Adam Page, I mean, now with Jeff Hardy, I mean, he just continues to get better. So, yeah. So 3.5, 3 3/4. It is yours, Fletch.
Yeah, 3.5 stars, no doubt. It was a solid matchup to say the very least. I don't think there's really nothing more for me to say on here. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Agreed. There isn't much more to say on this, honestly. I'll tell you what. Jeff. Well, we all saw Matt Hardy with Jeff while Swerve had Nana by his side. Jeff's last match showed him looking better than he has in the ring for a long time, and that continued into this match. Hardy and Swerve, these two do not have much experience working together, but displayed quite a bit of chemistry. Strickland can work with just about anyone, but he always brings something extra to matches when he is working with a veteran. And that's all I can really say on that. So another 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4 of a star for this one. Great matchup here, and Bullock, pretty much said it all. Sometime this year, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and I 100% agree. But sometime this year, Swerve Strickland will be the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Maybe Revolution, who knows? Depending on where they go with that. So we'll see what happens. But 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4 of a star. So with that being said, MF, let's move on to our next match.
It was Thunder Rosa going 1-on-1 with Red Velvet. Thunder Rosa wins the match in 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Yeah, I think it was a fine match. It was all right. The parameters for it wasn't really anything special here. I thought they did a really good job with it. So yeah, I give this about 2.5, close to 3, but more 2.5. So Anthony, it's yours.
Thunder Rosa made her return to Dynamite last night to take on Red Velvet in one of her first singles matches since returning from injury. And this was a first ever encounter for these two. Both women are babyfaces, so neither was taking the low road. They kept it clean, so Rosa's slight size advantage allowed her to control the pace. This was a decent bout, but there were 1 or 2 things that stood out for not looking so great, one of them being the finish. Rosa picked up the win over Velvet to continue building momentum, as I believe she is probably going to be the next challenger. She's going to prepare to challenge Julia Hart for the TBS Championship. So that's really all I can say there. So this was about 2.5, teetering on 2 3/4 of a star for me. So not much more to say. Did Bullock go, or do I give it to him?
Give it to Bullock.
Bullock, it's yours. 2.5, 2 3/4 once again.
Yeah, 2.5 to 2 3/4 on this one. I mean, Thunder Rosa's first match back on Dynamite. I mean, look, she continues to get her feet wet. I mean, as with her return to action. So, yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how she does the rest of the year now that she's back. So, there's really nothing more for me to say on it. So, it is yours, Fletch.
All right. And with that said, we do indeed move on. And now we are actually moving on to a 6-man tag team fight for the AEW Trios title, as it is the champions. Daddy Ass and the Acclaim going up against Brian Cage, Bishop Khan, and Tagaloa and Toa Lana. And it was Daddy Ass and the Acclaim winning the match and successfully defending the titles in roughly 9 minutes. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
With the main event still to come and only 20 minutes left in the show, it was clear the match for the Trios Championships would not be very long. Even with limited time to work, they still had a commercial break that allowed more of the match to be seen via picture-in-picture. These are 6 capable wrestlers who can have a great match on most nights, but something felt off. I felt something felt off here. It was hard to tell if there was a lack of overall chemistry or if they just didn't click this time. The energy picked up toward the end when everyone started coming in the ring and trading takedowns. Jay White showed up to steal a chair from Khan, while the Guns put Prince Nana through a table. Billy Gunn, Daddy Ass, got the win for his team to end the match at just a hair over 9 minutes. That's just about 2 3/4 to 3-star territory for me. So there's nothing left for me to say except the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass still the trios champions. So with that being said, Michael Bullock, I don't have anything left to say on my end. 2 3/4 to 3, in case you're wondering about the rating. And Bullock, as I give it to you, there's no better way for me to do that than by simply saying, "Scissor me, Michael Bullock."
Oh yes, my brother. So, what did you give this?
Oh, I'm so sorry you didn't hear that. I said 2 3/4 to 3 stars. Do you agree with that rating, or do you have a better one? What?
Yeah, I couldn't hear, especially with the whole scissor me thing. So, 2 3/4 to teetering on 3 on this one. I mean, yeah, the outcome was never in doubt with all this, so there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, it was 2 3/4 to 3, no doubts. I think it was solid for what it was worth. All right, so we just move on. The main event, well, would be a main event anywhere in the world, but my God, what a match we had. It was the Rated R superstar, Adam Copeland, going 1-on-1 with New Japan Pro Wrestling superstar Minoru Suzuki. When it was all said and done, it was Adam Copeland winning the match in 9 minutes and 25 seconds. I believe this goes to Mike. Actually, Anthony, do you get it, or is it Bullock who leads off? Because it doesn't go to me.
Well, then I'll gladly take it for a spin here. No question.
All right.
So,
yeah, then it's yours.
Yeah. Second best fight of the night. This was about 3, teetering on 3 1/4. The main event between Minoru Suzuki and Adam Copeland started about 7 minutes before the top of the hour, but the commentators teased going beyond the end of the show to finish the bout. They wasted no time and started throwing hands as soon as the bout started. Neither man went down after their first exchange, so they regrouped and tried again. Rated R superstar went down to his knees after a hard hit, but he was back up quickly. This was entertaining and hard hitting, but it felt way too short for a match AEW had been hyping as much as it did. They didn't need to go 30 minutes, but starting with less than 10 left in the show was not ideal. Copeland got the win with the spear, but made sure to show Suzuki some respect on the mic after it was over. The veteran did not return the favor, though, and walked away growling. So, I think we all know why. I mean, after you take a lot of lumps to that bowling ball head of his, of course you're going to be growling after a match. So, and I can't help it. That every time I see Suzuki's head, I always say bowling ball head, because he's got it. His head looks like a bowling ball. I'm sorry, I gotta keep mentioning it.
I would dare you to say that to his face, though. You're not gonna like the outcome, Florio.
Yeah, he'll put my ass in the hospital within 4 minutes.
Oh yeah, he will.
Yeah, he not only would put me in the hospital, but he would do it within a time frame of 4 minutes. I believe it. So, because when that guy hits you, yeah. So, but anyways, I kind of wanted more, but it is what it is. But all kidding aside, this was a solid 3 stars, teetering on 3 1/4. This was actually the third best fight of the night. It's a toss-up between the Hangman and Penta and Jeff Hardy and Swerve Strickland bouts. I felt those two was just a smidgen better, but solid 3 1/4. So there isn't anything else left for me to say on this. So Michael Bullock, 3 to 3 1/4 stars is my rating. And man, with more time, this could have been one hell of a BM Man fight. But for what we got, it was still a BM Man fight anyway.
Yeah, it was still a BM Man fight. I mean, I would have wanted more, but look, at the time we got, I definitely enjoyed it. And yeah, who wants to mess with Suzuki, especially with that head of his? I mean, I certainly as heck would not, but Adam Copeland definitely gave him all he can handle here, and he came out on top. And I don't know about you. I mean, I think we saw during the match, I mean, Christian Cage was watching backstage, and obviously he's keeping an eye on this whole thing that Adam Copeland's doing, even though Christian Cage said, sorry, man, it's back of the line for you. And don't be surprised if he's still saying that, even though he's having these open challenges. So, nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, nothing more to say. 3 stars, solid match, good fight. Could have been better in certain elements. I totally agree with that. But at the end of the day, the right man won, in my opinion. Oh, by the way, for all those fans out there, AEW recycled that footage. That wasn't live. Chris, that was pre-taped way back from another time, that Christian Cage thing. So, yeah, AEW, you have some explaining to do. That's all I'm saying on that one. So, nothing more to say, and let's get into overall review. It was a solid show, 7.5 for me. I really got nothing more to add, so Anthony, it's yours.
Right there. This was about 7 to 7.5. I couldn't agree with you more, MF. AEW has had several great episodes of TV in recent months, so the ones that tend to be more down the middle stick out more than they should. Don't read that the wrong way. This was a fun episode of Dynamite with some solid matches and promos, but a lot of it felt like filler to get to the next stage and the stories being told. Minoru Suzuki and Adam Copeland meeting for the first time was interesting. Tony Storm and Deonna Purrazzo killed it with their sit-down interview segment with Renee Paquette. And Jeff Hardy and Swerve Strickland put on a good display. Nothing from this show is overly must-see, but it also didn't have anything you should skip. We'll put it that way. 7 to 7.5. There's nothing left for me to say except take us home, Bullock. 7.5 for me.
Yeah, 7.5. I thought it was a good show. I mean, it definitely could have been better in some areas, but all in all, it was a good edition of Dynamite. So, that being said, Fletch, I think it's time we call it a night.
And we will indeed call it a night. And we'll be back tomorrow night, 10:30. And we have ourselves a very special edition, obviously. Normally, what we would normally do is Anthony Floyer will host this. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through previewing.
Royal Rumble first.
Rumble will be first. And then after that, we will be previewing the AFC and NFC championship games. On the AFC side, it will be the Kansas City Chiefs going to Baltimore against the Baltimore Ravens. And then the NFC championship game, the Detroit Lions goes to Santa Clara to take on the San Francisco 49ers. And then on Sunday, I'd probably say about 10:30 or immediately after the NFC Championship game goes final, we will have our recap of the Royal Rumble. And I will host that. That will be on BraceFan 95. So just to let you guys know, tomorrow night, 10:30 is going to be on Anthony Florio's channel on the Tone 25. Sunday night, come back after the NFC Championship game is over, and we will do it and we'll do a special edition of Talking Wrestling TXN, the recap of the Royal Rumble. Be a friend, tell a friend, say something nice. You may change their life. And until then, for Michael Bullock, for Anthony Florio, I'm Michael Fletcher. Goodbye.